What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2023 schedule preview projected record series. Colorado is up next, and this is an interesting one. I made a comment in another video, I think it was Oklahoma State, and I said this might be the toughest team to project what their record is going to be. And someone in the comments said, no, Colorado. And, you know, that's right. Colorado is the toughest team to project. We have no idea how good this team is going to be. You know, they bring in a lot of transfers. The quarterback, Deion's son, Shadir Sanders, coming up from the FCS level. How is that going to translate? I mean, we just don't know. We do not know. Anyone that says, I'm confident that Colorado is going to do this or do that, that's just wrong. They could be really good, or they could be awful again. This is a team that only won one game last year. So again, when we do these projections, we're basing it off of how the teams finished last year, and then bumping them up or down a little bit based off of what they have coming back or what they have added. So yes, we're going to bump Colorado up. I don't think this is a one-win team, but I'm still going to keep them kind of in that lower tier, bottom tier of the Pac-12, just because I don't think you can guarantee that this team's going to be a big-time contender. And they've got a tough schedule. Here is that schedule. They'll open up on the road at TCU on September the 2nd. Then they'll play Nebraska on September 9th at home. And then it's Colorado State on the 16th. So that's their non-conference schedule. You're playing a team that just went to the playoff last year, a Nebraska team that also has a new head coach. It has a lot of excitement around them, a lot of buzz. That's I think going to be a pretty good team this year. Not a great team, but that'll be a challenge. Nebraska probably is going to be a more talented team. Colorado State, that one might be an easy win. This is a team that was not great last year in the Mountain West. So that's your non-conference schedule. Then they get into the conference schedule on the road at Oregon on the 23rd. And then it'll be USC at home on the 30th. Arizona State on the road on October the 7th. Then they'll play Stanford at home. I think that's a Friday night game. That'll be a big one there. Then they'll play UCLA on the road. And that they get a bye week between Stanford and UCLA. So, get a bye week right there before a big road game against UCLA. Then they'll play Oregon State on November 4th. Arizona on the 11th. Another Friday night game, this time on the road at Washington State. And then they close things out on the road at Utah. So that's the schedule here. Again, pretty tough non-conference schedule. You'd like to, if you're in this situation, if you're Deion Sanders, maybe you'd like to have 3 cupcake games in the non-conference, but no. You're going to get TCU and Nebraska, 2 Power 5 teams. And again, a TCU team that just went to the college football playoff. That's going to be a really tough game there to start the season off. You look at who they play in the Pac-12. They've got Oregon, they've got USC, they've got Utah. No Washington. I guess that's the one good thing here. They also don't get to play Cal. That's a team. I think that's the one team they beat last year, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is a pretty tough schedule. Let's go to the projection here. This is the scale that we'll be using. If it's a 50-50 game, it'll stay in the white. Less than 20, over 80. These are games where I think the spread will be 20 or more points. 20 to 29, 71 to 80. Those are games where I think the spread will be double digits. You got 30 to 39, 61 to 70. Those are games where I think the spread will be around a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points, kind of in that range. So we'll start with the one, I would say a pretty easy win, Colorado State. I think Colorado will be favored by 14 in this game. Again, Colorado State was not very good last year. Don't really expect them to be great this year. Even if Colorado didn't make all these changes, I still think they'd be favored in this game. Maybe it would be in the purple instead of the blue. But again, that's what we're talking about. We're giving Colorado some credit. We do expect them to be better this year. All right, so that's your one win. How about the tough losses, the almost guaranteed losses? TCU on the road, Oregon on the road, USC, and then Utah on the road. Now, they could completely turn things around. They could be a top 25 team, and if that's the case, these won't be in the orange. But I think that they will be. I think they'll be 14 to 18 point underdogs probably in all of these games. I feel pretty confident in that. Again, we don't know for sure, but based off of the roster, based off of last year, based off of all this, and these other teams are going to be really good this year. So I think they're going to be pretty big underdogs in those 4 games. And when we do the projection, those games will be counted as losses. Colorado State will be counted as a win. And then you've got the other games that are a little bit closer. games that are definitely winnable, but definitely losable at the same time. Nebraska, UCLA, Oregon State, Washington State. I think these 4 games are games where Colorado is going to be an underdog. They're going to be a 6 or 7, 8-point underdog in all of these games. Nebraska is at home, so maybe that one's closer to 50-50, but it's the second game of the year for, again, a team that's going to have a lot of new faces, new coaching staff. I know Nebraska is going to have a new coaching staff as well, but they've actually got some talent, some experienced guys that have been on that team. They've got a decent amount coming back, so there is a difference when I look at Colorado and I look at Nebraska. So I think Nebraska will be favored in that game. UCLA will be favored, Oregon State will be favored, Washington State. That could be a sneaky team this year. They also should be favored. So those 4 games, I think Colorado will have a chance in. I'm not saying they have no chance, but they're going to be the clear underdog. And then you've got Arizona State, Stanford, and Arizona. I think these are all winnable games for Colorado. I think they might even be favored in all 3 of these games, but not by a lot. I think these are your 50-50 games. These are games that could really go either way. And so again, tough to make a prediction on these games. I feel like Colorado with the new faces probably better than these teams. I don't know. Arizona's a team that's on the rise as well. So these are tough ones. And again, we're going real conservative here, and we're counting these games as wins. So, or counting these games as 50-50 games. So if you do the projection here, if they just beat Colorado State and they won all of their 50-50 games, that would put them at 4-8 if they lost all of these other games. Now, that is the projection, 4-8, but that's not how it's calculated. We use 35% here for the games in yellow, 50% for the games in white. So that's not a prediction. You know, it could go, you know, if you got 4 games where you're about a touchdown underdog, the odds would say you're going to at least win one of those. So that, you know, the odds would say they're going to knock off Oregon State or Nebraska, or, you know, one of these games, and they're probably going to lose one of these games in the white. They're not going to win all 3 of those games. That's what the odds would say, but it does kind of work out that way to where they would win the 50-50 games and lose all the games where they're underdogs and get to 4-8. And maybe that's how it goes, or maybe it does go differently, or maybe they don't go 4-8 at all. Maybe this team's a lot better. Maybe they still struggle. Maybe they only win a couple of games. I think they'll win at least 2 games. I think they're going to be better than last year. And I think they're going to beat Colorado State, and they're going to win at least one of these 50-50 games. I would even say at least 2. So 4-8 is definitely possible, and I think realistic. 6-6 would be a great season in my opinion, but you don't want to fall back to 2-10 or 1-11. So we'll see what happens with this Colorado team. Like I said, it's a very tough team to predict. Just looking at the roster early on here, so many new faces, so many transfers, but they've got talented guys, and if they all come together, and if Deion Sanders can bring the best out of them, and everything again comes together, maybe Colorado is a surprise team this year, and they get to a bowl game or even do better than that. But I think 4-8 is a pretty fair projection. What do you think about this team? I would love to know your thoughts. Is Colorado going to make a big jump this year, or are they going to be bad again? Let me know what you think about this team in year 1 under Deion Sanders. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.